So you were at school and you enlisted the next day, and you brought a jacket with you today behind you.
Mm-hmm.
Could you explain it to us, please?
The Eisenhower jacket?
Yes. Here, you don't have to.
Well, I didn't.
Just tell us what the patches mean.
It was the official PX Army officers' so-called Eisenhower jacket because of the length.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very much like the British wore these in combat. We didn't wear them in combat. This was more or less a dress uniform.
And what does this patch mean?
This patch is for the 82nd Airborne Division.
Okay. And that patch?
This patch is for the 11th Airborne Division. That's who I was with in the Philippines.
Okay.
And this patch is for the 187 Regimental Combat Team, which is the unit I was with in Korea.
And you said that paratroopers wore leather jackets like the one you're wearing now?
They were authorized to wear them off-duty, not in a combat situation.
Right. Okay. So, entering the war, enlisting, were you scared? Were you scared when you went to go enlist?
No, I wasn't scared.
No?
I was looking forward to it.
Okay.
Can you describe like a typical day in the military?
Well, you had a typical day in a reception center the first couple of weeks before you got fully indoctrinated. You're probably talking about a typical day in basic training.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're up at 5, go out in the company street, do half an hour of calisthenics.
What does calisthenics mean? Oh, exercise?
Exercise.
Okay.
Then you run around the company area for 3 miles, and you go back in and have breakfast in the mess hall.
What was breakfast usually? Do you remember?
Coffee.
Coffee?
Bacon, eggs, hot cereal, toast. Very nourishing.
Okay. And then what'd you do after that?
Then you would have classes in close order drill, military sanitation, military history, rifle marksmanship. Then after a couple of weeks, you'd go out and spend day after day on the rifle range.
And then what was like a typical day?
In like a battle zone or something.
Well, that was... I could give you a typical day in Italy, at Anzio.
Okay.
We came in there not by parachute, but by landing barge. And we proceeded inland about 3 miles and set up a CP,
What's a CP?
command post. And then we dug holes.
Like trench warfare? Like trench warfare?
We dug holes to protect ourselves from...
Right.
There was no incoming fire at that point. The Germans hadn't yet discovered us. But the water table along that shoreline of Italy is so high that if you dug a 4-foot foxhole, 2 feet of it would be filled with water within a matter of minutes. You spent... That's where the Army made a terrible mistake. We could have gone all the way to Rome that first day, but they got scared and thought we better dig in, so we dug in. We never got to Rome for 3 months. But we would stay in the holes in the daytime, and we would patrol at night.
What was it like missing holidays or birthdays? What did you do anything special when you were there?
On your birthday,
I mean, like,
any holiday.
if you missed a holiday, were you there over any holidays, like Christmas or anything?
I was up in the mountains near Casino on the previous Christmas, and we were in a forward position, and the regimental commander came around with 5 or 6 quarts of scotch, and he'd give everybody a slug of scotch, and that was Christmas.
Did you feel like you should have been home, or were you still happy on your decision?
No, you felt you were doing what you should be doing. Absolutely. Yeah.
Did you have, like, what's your darkest memory of being in the military?
Darkest memory?
Yeah.
I guess when I was concussed.
How did that happen?
It was in a ground engagement, and it was shell fire, tank fire. It was a battle down near the beach in Anzio.
In
And
Italy?
destroyers were firing, and the tanks were firing. Artillery was firing, and you never knew who was getting hit with what. And the concussion was terrific, and I was concussed. Went in a shock. I couldn't see or hear, except very diminishedly. So I got evacuated to Naples.
You once told me you were shot twice.
At least.
Could you
Can you
explain that?
Explain what happened?
Well, when you're in close infantry combat, there's so much shrapnel flying around that sometimes you're aware you're hit and sometimes you're unaware until afterward. And some are quite superficial. I mean, you can bleed and still have a superficial wound.
Where were you shot?
Well, I've still got some scars here and up the rest of the elbow.
Did you ever kill anybody?
I'm afraid so.
Has that
bothered you?
No, it has not bothered me.
did you know when you shot someone or killed someone, did you know who you were shooting, or was it from such a distance you
No,
had
you would have no idea who it
no
was.
idea?
I mean, you might know whether he was a German or a Jap, but aside from that, or an Italian.
Did if it was close, if you were close enough to see them, do you think it would change your...
Yes, I think if you were standing as close as I am to Dylan, yeah, I think that would be bothersome, I think.
Yeah. And were there any times that people fighting with you did things you didn't approve of? Or were you guys usually on the same page? I
Yeah,
mean,
there were often things that were done that you wouldn't approve of.
Can you describe some of them?
One rather modest infraction took place in Yokohama after we invaded Japan, and all the civilians took off for the mountains, terrified that the Rakkasans, the parachutists, would rape them and kill them. And we had a patrol that stopped a truck, and first lieutenant, who was my executive officer, pulled these three men out of the Jap soldiers